Jewish Channel's Week in Review. A campaign to get Israelis to move back to Israel, a Jewish teen rises to the top of the Billboard hip-hop chart, anti-Semitic vandalism in Brooklyn, and more of the Jewish news that's changing your world right now in this episode of the Week in Review. Hello, and welcome to the Jewish Channel's Week in Review. I'm Stephen I. Weiss. A semi-covert national campaign has Israel trying to get expatriate citizens to move back to the Jewish state. Here at TJC, we've pieced together many reports from people across the United States to find that a concerted effort is targeting Israeli expatriates in at least 5 cities to convince them that their heritage will be lost if they don't soon leave America to go back to Israel. This billboard in Hollywood, Florida, is one very visible sign of the campaign. The Hebrew text says, "Before Abba is changed into Daddy, the time has come to return to Israel." While no announcement of a national effort has been made, TJC has found that the same or similar message has been posted on billboards in Boston, Palo Alto, New York City, and Los Angeles. The message is also being sent in television spots on channels targeting the Israeli expatriate community. One carries a similar message as that of the billboards, with a son trying to get his father's attention by repeatedly calling him with the word daddy. Eventually, he calls him Abba, Hebrew for father, and the dad wakes up. This is followed with the message, "They will always remain Israelis. Their children will not. Help them return to Israel." A second video reinforcing this message shows 2 Israeli grandparents video chatting with their child. They ask the child what holiday she's celebrating. Instead of Hanukkah, she says Christmas, and the look of concern is followed by the same slogan. An intriguingly different message is sent by a third commercial that suggests that marrying American Jews could make Israelis lose their sense of identity. The video shows a couple returning home and the girlfriend mourning during Israel's annual Day of Remembrance for fallen soldiers, while her English-speaking boyfriend doesn't understand. It closes with the message, "They will always remain Israelis. Their partners won't always understand what this means. Help them return to Israel." The effort to get Israeli expatriates or Yordim to return to Israel is one with a large mandate. While estimates vary, it's possible that as many as 2 million Israeli expatriates live in the United States, while Israel's entire population is just over 7 million. And while most efforts to get American Jews to immigrate to Israel for what's called Aliyah are announced with fanfare, press releases, and public events, this endeavor to get Israelis to move back is about as covert as such a thing can be. Other than the actual marketing by billboard and television ads to this Israeli group, no communication has been sent out about the campaign being a large national effort. And though the campaign tries to put a different name on the idea of getting former Israelis to return, or Lachzor, the agency carrying out the effort is Israel's Ministry for Immigration, or Aliyah. And the 3 videos advocating Israelis' return are the only videos on the agency's site advocating moving to Israel. The agency has no videos trying to get Americans to make Aliyah, and does not appear to be funding any campaign to get Americans to make Aliyah at all. An official from the ministry told TJC as we went to air that the overall budget for the program was originally targeted at 3 million shekels. He didn't have a comparative number for the amount spent trying to get Americans to make Aliyah, as that is an effort comprised of many different programs, but said that the overall budget for getting Americans to make Aliyah is larger than that of the program trying to get Israelis to return. He said the program has registered between 5,000 and 6,000 Israelis to move back to Israel. But at the same time as Israel is trying to get more Israelis to come back, many Israelis in the country are increasingly upset at how difficult it has become to live in Israel unless one maintains an ultra-Orthodox lifestyle. News out of Israel in recent weeks has revealed increased stringencies on various aspects of life in Israel as a result of ultra-Orthodox influence. In the effort to increasingly impose more ultra-Orthodox restrictions on conversion and marriage, a modern Orthodox group of rabbis that had been conducting 3,000 marriages a year outside of the direct influence of the ultra-Orthodox controlled chief rabbinate was shut down by that chief rabbinate in recent weeks. The news this week is that a major effort toward increasing progressiveness in Israeli rabbinic courts is likely to be turned back. The Rabbinical Court's Judicial Appointments Committee determines the makeup of rabbinic courts, and a major victory for progressives was getting women on that committee to help the rabbinic courts move in a more woman-friendly direction. Now it appears that for the first time in 12 years, no women will be serving on that Judicial Appointments Committee in what appears to be a concession to the ultra-Orthodox political parties. Other news about ultra-Orthodoxy and women has been about the ultra-Orthodox tendency to demand that all images of women be removed from the public sphere. In decades past, this would manifest itself in spray painting over advertisements featuring women in clothing that revealed more than the average ultra-Orthodox fashion. But more recently, this has meant demanding that even images of only a woman's face be removed from advertisements. One Israeli arts group is finding an interesting way to fight back, though. The Kolbin Dance Group is reportedly the last dance company to be based in Jerusalem, and they've now announced that they will be pulling their curtains back on their windows, revealing rehearsals for all to see as a protest against the exclusion of women from public space in Jerusalem. But if parts of Israel are proving inhospitable to many Jews, there are some new problems here in America, too. In Delaware, a neo-Nazi group has adopted a stretch of highway as part of the Adopt a Highway program. There are now signs saying the area has been adopted by the Freedom Party, after Delaware officials rejected the first efforts by the group to use the name the National Socialist Freedom Movement Nazi Party, as well as a more abbreviated proposal to list the NSFM 88 Nazi Party. The state might be lucky in this case that the sponsors haven't yet been willing to turn the effort into a legal battle. You might remember a similar story from 2009 in the state of Missouri, when the Ku Klux Klan adopted a stretch of highway there. A long legal battle by the state to prevent it lost on First Amendment grounds. In Missouri, the state responded by naming the highway after the late Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel, so that neo-Nazis were cleaning up a highway named after a famous Jew. Moving on, if one were trying to describe anti-Semitism using the parlance of hip-hop, one would probably use the slogan, "Haters wanna hate." And now that possibility can be put to the test, as a Jewish teen rapper is at the top of the Billboard 200 chart. Mac Miller is the pseudonym of Malcolm McCormick, a 19-year-old from Pittsburgh with a Chai tattoo on his arm. His first album, Blue Slide Park, debuted atop the influential sales chart last week. His songs include an ode to Donald Trump and another to Nike sneakers. Going from Haters Wanna Hate to I Shall Not Hate, the latter is the title of a new book by a Gaza-born doctor about his efforts for peace between Israelis and Palestinians. Christian Needham reports.
Doing away with hate was the topic of discussion at the Forest Hills Jewish Center last week. Gaza-born Dr. Izzeldin Abulayesh addressed a Jewish crowd about the aftermath of a personal tragedy that led him to declare I Shall Not Hate, the title of his memoir about losing 3 of his daughters and a niece to Israeli tank shells during the waning days of Operation Cast Lead. To articulate that idea for this Jewish crowd, he quoted the Rabbi of England.
Rabbi Jonathan Sacks said, "The biggest weapon of mass destruction is the hate in our souls. God will never change what is in people till they change what is in their hearts, minds, and souls. Don't blame others. Take responsibility and look inside. See your face in the mirror before blaming others. That's what is needed."
To see more from this event, please tune into the full broadcast edition of the Week in Review.
Thank you, Christian. Unfortunately, some hate has been in evidence in a string of anti-Semitic property crimes in Brooklyn, New York. Christian Needham has that story.
Safety was a prime concern at a community forum organized last week by local Assemblywoman Rhoda Jacobs at the Young Israel of Avenue K in Brooklyn. The forum came in the wake of local anti-Semitic property damage, including the burning of 3 cars on nearby Ocean Parkway the previous Friday, with nearby graffiti featuring the letters KKK and anti-Jewish epithets. The Safety Forum's primary goal was to welcome Deputy Inspector Eric Rodriguez as the new commanding officer of the local 70th Precinct, with public support from members of the Flatbush Shomrim Safety Patrol. Yet several speakers also addressed community reaction to the recent anti-Semitic property damage, including an incident that very morning at the Avenue J subway station a few blocks to the west.
When anti-Semitism and crime rise, and there are many circumstances which abound, we become nervous, and justifiably so, because unfortunately, when there are changes and difficulties in different countries or different circumstances, the target is often the Jewish community, and one of the first targets. So we have a great concern. However, we do believe that in this country, where there's freedom of religion, where there's freedom of conduct, where there's an idea of people coming together for common cause, for good things, that this is a country which is devoted to the law, the rule of law.
To see more from the Safety Forum, please tune into the full broadcast edition of the Week in Review.
Thank you, Christian. That's all for this week from all of us here at the Jewish Channel. Happy Thanksgiving and be well. The Jewish Channel is available on cable. Time Warner Cable Channel 528, IO Optimum Channel 291, RCN Channel 268, Bright House Channel 330, Verizon Fios Channel 900, Cox Channel 1, Frontier Communications, and now on Comcast Cable in the on-demand menu under Premium Channels. For more information, visit tjctv.com.